we got Barrie calling in from New Zealand. Barrie, you've been waiting a long time to talk to us. You are on the line with Truth Wanted. What's up?
Yeah, hi guys. It's good to talk to you. It's actually Saturday afternoon over here.
Hell yeah!
I'm
enjoying a beautiful thing. I'd love to enjoy a beautiful New Zealand Saturday one day. That's definitely a life goal of mine. So good for you.
It's fantastic. We're going into spring. I just wanted to share with you a personal experience I had and sort of get your ideas about it. I mean, obviously I've got my own. So it was a couple of years ago. I work as a teacher, and I was quite happy in my little job. You know, we had a new guy join the staff. His name was Alex, and I felt a bit awkward at first because he obviously had some physical disabilities, and I like to think of myself as pretty relaxed, but it took me a little time to adjust to it. Once we broke through that, we hit it off really well. We got on really well, and we found out that we had a lot of friends in common that we didn't know, and so even after a few months after that, I realized Alex was going to be one of these friends, you know, like you get maybe twice in your life that, you know, a really good friend you can talk to about anything, you know. Anyway, over some time, Alex started having stomach complaints, and he kept going to the doctor, and they misdiagnosed it. Eventually went to a specialist after about 6 months, and they said that he had level 4 bowel cancer, terminal.
Oh, gosh.
And that just, yeah, he was 42. Young guy, you know, and just fantastic guy. I mean, despite his disabilities, he never thought about himself, you know, always out there for other people. Nice guy, lovely guy. So he quit work. We stayed in touch, of course, and I was there for him sort of throughout his whole process, you know. It took maybe about a year before it finally got him. And I went to the funeral, you know. You could imagine it was quite difficult trying to speak, you know. Anyway, about a year later, his wife took the decision to cremate Alex. So they had a special ceremony, and it was really nice, you know, good weather. We blew some bubbles and had some songs. It was great. It was great.
Oh, good.
So that day, it was hard, but, you know, we got through it. Later on that day, after we'd had all the ceremony and stuff, I was hungry, and I thought, I'll get a pizza. It's lazy, but yeah, I like pizza, you know. So I went to the shop, made my order, and I was only going to get the pizza originally, and then right at the last minute, something said to me, "Oh, grab a drink," you know. And I was so hungry, I didn't even look at the bottle that they gave me. It was a Coke. Now, I don't know if this is a worldwide thing, but certainly here in New Zealand, Coke's doing this thing at the moment where they personalize the labels that they put on the bottles. It's a bit of a gimmick, you know, for promotion, I suppose. So you could have your
they
bottle,
put people's names, or they put like, you know, him and her, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And but I wasn't interested in that. You know, I just grabbed me a bottle, you know. Came home, flipped open the pizza, munching away, watching a movie, and I grabbed the bottle, turned it round, and the bottle said, "Enjoy a Coke with Alex and friends." And it just sent a shiver up my spine when that happened. It was on the day of the interment of his ashes, you know. And I'd never really had an experience like that before. I've been an atheist my whole life, and I'm a really skeptical person. But when that happened, I got to be honest, you know.
Oh no! We are working on trying to reconnect the call here. It'll be back on in just a second. But yes, everybody has these kinds of things every once in a while, I think, right? Like, and that is, I think it's okay to kind of have some wonder, you know, for how crazy the universe can give these kinds of coincidences. But, you know, and I'm sure Barrie would probably agree at the end of the day, this probably doesn't mean more than what it is, you know, just a coincidence. At least that's the only way I could interpret that. But I think we're back. Barrie, are you back with us?
Yeah, sorry, something happened there. We blanked out, yeah.
Yeah, we were just saying it sounds like a mighty fine coincidence, and I'm sure that you wonder about that and wonder if it means anything, and I think that's perfectly natural to wonder something like that, especially with something so specific. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how you specifically feel about it, but of course, as a fellow atheist, as someone who doesn't necessarily believe that there is some divine plan for everything, I can't attribute it to more than just that, just a coincidence.
I'll just add that what's fascinating about that is the way in which our minds look for patterns, right? Like, low probability events do happen and coincidences do happen. And of course, we kind of have these built-in meanings and context. But, I think that's more about like how we see connections than necessarily there being something more
sure
than that.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Barry?
Yeah, I mean, my take on it is very similar to your own in the end. But I had to fight with it a little bit, because I'm only human. But yeah. I mean, I take the same thing. It's sort of confirmation bias, some of this other stuff. I think one little thing it helped me with, though, being an atheist my whole life, on a sort of a micro level, it helped me understand the fine-tuning argument. It's, or the sort of solipsism of it, the fact that somehow the whole thing is just being provided for my benefit. This bottle has appeared just for me at this exact time that I need it to be there. And I always struggled, for example, with the fine-tuning argument that theists come up with, this sort of idea that the whole universe is just created for my benefit. It helped me understand that. It's like, I get where they're coming from now. Like, I think they're wrong, but I kind of get it a bit now. It must be really a powerful feeling to them,
Right.
On a small scale, it helped me with that a bit. Yeah.
When I was in college, I used to work at a Christian summer camp. Okay, and so when I was out there, I thought I had these really incredible experiences that I attributed to the Holy Spirit showing me things about the world. Like, isn't it great that I'm having these things? And to me, this was like an internal confirmation that Christianity was real. The Holy Spirit is a thing. Jesus died on the cross. The whole 9 yards. That was an internal confirmation for me. Later on, when I was kind of deconstructing, I met with some Hare Krishna Hindus on my college campus. And I decided to have a meditation experience with them because I had never done anything like that. And they were asking if people were interested on campus, And I felt something really interesting in that meditation experience. We were kind of all in this circle and we were chanting and stuff. And I realized, I was like, wow, I think the only reason why I thought that this other stuff meant stuff was because I was at a Christian camp. So, of course, my brain was totally framed on this idea that, it has to come from this book that we've been spending all summer reading, and just generally living in a Christian society, you kind of have to think, maybe there is an afterlife and there's spirits communicating back from the dead and things like that. And when your brain is so framed to that, you become more attuned to these kinds of connections.
But just to add to that, I mean, the fact that all these different cultures and all these different people who believe different ideologies are all having these meditative experiences or these sort of finding of these patterns. Even including atheists, like we just heard, points to there being a deeper principle. Right. People want to assume that it's giving credence to their particular ideology, when in reality they're just saying that because that's what they're used to, that's what they're surrounded by.
Yeah.
Once you've kind of take the time to travel, take the time to talk to people who have a different background than you, and you find these commonalities even in their ideologies in their lives, then you kind of take a step back and you start to see on a larger scale, this is just something that's true about the human condition, an experience that we have through the human condition.
Right, and this is something too. Like when colonists were first coming to the lands of other peoples, right? And these people talked about their own spirituality. Suddenly you see writings of people trying to reframe their experiences. I feel like the word of the day is reframe or framing, right? As like, well, this is that of the spirit, or that's the influence of demons, right? But you think that if God was real and that he has an interest in humans, you think that he would make some sort of appearance and specifically make himself known to the Aborigine people, for example. Why was it so that it only happened, Jesus came in the Middle East and the people in the Middle East, kind of had these experiences, whereas people continents away had no knowledge of Christianity or its doctrines or history until other believers came to it. It's almost like it's a cultural phenomenon, I'm glad that you at least have, it sounds like, very positive memories of your friend Barrie, and it sounds like a fun story to tell people. But I think if we sound like we're on the same page at the end of the day, it's just, kind of a coincidence. It is what it is, but maybe other people would feel differently about it, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was an interesting thing that happened. I haven't really had that happen before, but it was it's just one of those things. Yeah, but no, I agree with you. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I could definitely. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say. I guess that's all I got to say on it. Really, Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story.
I think it's all just about putting your ego aside, isn't it? Yeah, you're right.
I think it is. I think it is kind of incredible that some people think that the God of the entire universe does want to talk to them and help them find their car keys. Those kinds of stories I think are always kind of funny to me. Even when I was a Christian, I didn't buy a lot of those kinds of tales, or even just people from the other life or from the afterlife trying to communicate, like, oh, they wanted to point out that they didn't like this picture on the wall, so they took it down from the house by having it fall over. The kinds of little things like that always kind of seem silly. But anyway, Barrie, again, thanks for sharing your story. I appreciate you calling in.